Hey everybody, Pumpkin here. Today I wanted to bring you another Usurper deck. I know I've been uploading a lot of Usurper decks, but I really do think he has potential. And this iteration of the deck actually surprised me a lot. I was doing fairly well with it. Biggest changes, I started running Albric and Vico Novice and a Sire. So normally the only reason you play a Sire in Nilfgaard is because you use it on Roach, but you can't use Roach in Usurper because you have no mulligans. But if you have Vico Novice, it kind of fixes it. I thought, well, I'll brick too often. I'll never draw Vico Novice. I would say over 20 plus games with this deck, I've hard bricked maybe once or twice. One of those games I still won, even though I drew 3 Witchers in my opening hand. You could still deal with it. Sometimes I'll play like 2 Witchers in round 1, and then I'll just throw the other Witcher away with Vico Novice. So it's really not that bad. It's not the end of the world. It's definitely worth risking it because more often than not, you don't brick or you have that one mulligan because you lost coin flip. You mulligan the Roach or the Witcher away, and you get to play a 16-point play, which is really, really important for Usurper because you don't get that leader. Another card that's been pretty good is Akvist. When you deny their leader, decks that use Ethne and Crack have a much more difficult time killing cards like Akvist and Villain Tredenmirth. Originally I was running Blaze, but the card just was never getting value, so I just completely cut it. We put in Arbalest because Arbalest is a broken bronze card. Originally we were running like all the different locks and stuff, but it was just garbage. Arbalest is just too broken not to play. Same thing with Nausicaa Sergeant and Recruits. They're just phenomenal cards. I'll go through the deck really, really quickly. Before I do that, I actually think Usurper is going to be good next patch. We've been told a leak on the forums that Usurper, something's happening to the leader, a mulligan change, and I don't think he's going to get -1 mulligans, which would be +1 mulligan for your opponent. I don't think they can implement that, or they would implement that. So my guess is because he's seeing basically zero play other than, well, myself and maybe a few other people. I think he actually might get a +1 mulligan. On top of that, Witchers are getting nerfed. We don't know what the nerf is, but if Witchers are nerfed, it means the mulligans aren't going to be as important. So if we take this deck, for example, assuming we cut the Witchers and play something else, the only brick in this deck is Roach, which means more often than not, you're not going to draw that. Even if you do, you can mulligan it, and you have the second mulligan that you can use later on. I actually think Usurper will be good next patch. I've been having pretty good success with it right now, and that's with 0 mulligans and Witchers in the meta. Once Witchers get cut and Roach is able to get mulligan with Usurper, I think there's a very good possibility you start seeing a lot of Usurper. Now the question is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? One of the reasons why Usurper was the only leader with 0 mulligans is because CDPR was afraid that the community would hate the card. It's very unfun. Your opponent doesn't get to use their leader, and a lot of times you build your deck around your leader. So, is Usurper healthy for the game? I would love to know your opinion, so let me know in the comments below. Is Usurper okay for the game? One thing people refer to him is Cancer. He's a cancerous leader. To which I respond, sometimes you gotta counter Cancer with Cancer. We're seeing a lot of Crack SK on ladder right now in Ethne's control. And one of the best counters is, well, completely deny their leader. And Usurper does that pretty well. The problem was, it was kind of hard to make an Usurper deck because you couldn't keep up in points with Witchers. But it turns out you can play Witchers with Vico Novices. So, yeah. I would suggest giving this deck a try at some point before the changes so that you can see how it works. Maybe after the changes it's even better and you could kind of see the differences. It's a fun deck. It really is. It's not bad. Don't be afraid to go into round 3 a card down. I know a lot of people will play round 1, they'll win the round, and then they instantly dry pass and go into round 3. Don't make that mistake. You can go into round 3 a card down. It's not a big deal. The reason you can do this is, 1, they don't have carryover on their leader. So sometimes it's very risky trying to bleed out a Morven or an Ethne because they have 3 to 4 points of carryover in round 2, whereas your leader, maybe you play like Woodland Spirit, you have no points in round 2 that you want to use. You usually want to save Woodland Spirit for round 3. So, yeah, play round 2 out with this deck, especially because it's not really a combo-oriented deck. A lot of decks get a lot of value in longer rounds, like Crack SK. So if you beat Crack SK with this deck and dry pass in round 2, you're going to lose. Even though you deny his leader, Wolfsbane and Wild Boar of the Sea are going to smash you because the cards are insane in a long round. So bleed them, even if it means going a card down, because your short round is better with cards like Cryo Uni, Villain Tread and Mirth, Akvist. Yeah. And Asire. Asire is a phenomenal 10-point drop. So make sure to bleed. Not always. If you have 3 cards in hand, you probably aren't bleeding. But more often than not, you go into the next round with maybe 7 or 8 cards. So keep that in mind. Don't just instantly dry pass, because you will lose a long round with this deck. Unless Akvist gets a ton of value. I'll run through the deck really quickly. Usurper, deny your opponent's leader. Villain Tread and Mirth. Because they don't have a leader, this goes off pretty often, and you do run a few other engines like Dash, Akvist, Nausicaa Sergeant. So there's a pretty good chance this card lives. Excuse me. Keep in mind, it does work when you pass. So let's say they have a 10 on the board. You play Villain Tread and Mirth. Your opponent passes. You can pass, and it'll go off. So just keep that in mind. In the scenario where they have one tall card, it's basically a Scorch +5. Siri Dash, another engine. This sometimes goes off. It sometimes doesn't go off. When it does go off, it's awesome, obviously, because it's a free card. Don't get wrapped around getting a card with this. Same thing with Siri. A lot of the times you play these cards in round 1 just so that you could get out of the round. They're very, very common. So you're struggling with points, and you just slam this on the board, and your opponent usually passes or plays like one card and then passes. Bad players will try to keep pushing points, but after like 1 or 2 cards, Siri Dash is actually going to draw a card because of end of turn effects. So keep that in mind. Don't be afraid to use this card in round 1. It's more of a tech card to force people out of the round. Akvist, very good. It works with Ike of Denzel, and it's pretty good in the long round, and it usually goes off. It's been growing on me. Roach works well with Witchers, works well with Sire. Unicorn Cairo. They're just, you play them in every deck basically at this point. If you're wondering if there are like neutrals that you should craft for every deck, I know in last Gwent we had cards like Gigny and Poet where if you were new to the game, you could craft them and you could kind of slot them into any deck. Same thing with like Telekinesis. In New Gwent, the go-to craft cards are basically Unicorn and Chiron. These cards are phenomenal. You can slot them in any deck. They provide high boosting or high removal. It's just really strong cards. Siri is another card that you could basically play in any deck. The skill cap is a little higher on her. Generally, if you are going to play her, you want to be winning the round. Well, or catch up. So let's say your opponent has, 46 points. If you have 41 points, it's really good to play Siri because then they can't pass. If you have 39 points, playing Siri is not great because, they just pass and nothing happens. Sometimes that's correct because you just want to get out of the round. You play it, they pass, you play another card, whatever. But if you can play it to catch up, that's your ideal scenario. Asire, mentioned earlier, very good with Roach. Storygary, its removal, phenomenal. If for whatever reason this card isn't getting value, you can replace it with Avalok. Avalok is pretty good because you can keep your engines alive, such as Akvist, Siri Dash, regular Siri, Nausicaa Sergeant. So keep that in mind. If you're running into, I can't really think of a deck that doesn't have locked targets. Crack has Light Longship. Big Monsters has any Thrive unit. Scoia'tael has Swordmasters. I guess if you keep queuing it to control monsters, you could replace it. It's probably the only scenario. I really like the lock personally. Ike of Denzel, tall removal, very good against big monsters. It's also good because a lot of people are playing Unicorn and Chiron because these cards are really good. So whenever they boost a unit by +4, a lot of the times it gets into Ike of Denzel range. So this card gets pretty good value most of the time. Not always. Sometimes it's a 3 and it sucks, but other times it's really good. Witcher, self-explanatory. Albric, this card is phenomenal. I can't believe I wasn't running this before. It's so good. It synergizes really well with Siri Dash. You can put the card you want on top when Siri Dash draws it. You can use it with Vico Novice. This is what I usually do. Sometimes I'll save like a Witcher into round 3 because I bricked on Witchers in round 1. I'll play 2 Witchers round 1. We'll get into round 3 and I'll brick a card and then I will play Vico Novice, take the gold card that I put on top, draw it into my hand, and Vico Novice the Witcher away. So very good card, helps fix your hand sometimes. Works well with a Sire too. If there's a scenario where, I don't know, you don't want the Roach or they lemons it, or some scenario happens, or maybe you want the Unicorn or Chironex again, you could throw it back into your deck with a Sire ability, and then I'll break it back on top of your deck. Niche scenario, but it could occur. But yeah, usually you're just going to put a gold card on top for whatever game you're in. If you're against big monsters, you'll probably put Ike of Denzel on the top, or Villain Treademirth, because those cards are really, really good in those matchups. So very, very good card. I love this card. It's nuts with Vico Novice because it never bricks. Normally, Albrick is a brick in round 3, but with Vico Novice, it's not. It's a very good card. Vico Novice helps fix your mulligans with Witchers, Roach, and of course, Albrick. Arbalest, this card is completely busted. It's a 5, and every now and then it rolls a 7. This card is going to be one of the first bronzes to get nerfed next patch. It's so good. You don't even have to play a reveal deck. It's a nutty card. Alba Armored Cavalry is a lock. It's good. Works well with Slave Driver. Having an extra lock is never a bad thing. There are plenty of things to lock in this meta. Recruit, another one of those cards that's just really good. It's a 4 for 4, and every now and then it's a 6 for 4. That's awesome. I can't complain. It also has the word deploy on it, which works really well with the next card we're going to go to. Nausicaa Sergeant. Another insanely strong card. Whenever you play a unit with deploy, boost self by 1. Basically, every card in this deck has the word deploy on it. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, yes. Siri does not. These don't. You shouldn't be playing this from hand, and these 3 don't. But every other card has deploy. I get this card up to like 8, 10 points. It's phenomenal Nilfgaard card. Slave Driver is basically a wolf. It pings for 2. Every now and then you'll have maybe Doragary or Armored Cavalry on the board. You'll get another lock. It'll ping for an extra point. Do keep in mind, it does count your opponent. So if your opponent Siren locks one of your cards, Slave Driver will get +1. So it counts locks on both sides. So yeah. We're going to get right into the gameplay. Make sure to let me know in the comments whether or not you think Usurper is healthy for the game. Assuming he gets +1 mulligan, and let's say he is actually viable and you see him, I don't know, let's say 10% of your games. Would you like that? Would you dislike that? What are your thoughts? Let me know. All right, let's get into the gameplay. No Witchers opening hand 2 times. It's pretty funny. Can he play this if I play naked at 3? No. Okay, Geralt Professional kills this. How long are servers down on Monday? Does anybody know off the top of their head? You still can't kill it? The whole day? The whole day? Like the entire 24 hours? The whole day? No pumpkin stream? Maybe I'll do VR or do Lego.
Hey, listen here. Listen
Oh.
well.
Wait, you could bug abuse and kill my TA. No? Okay. Wait, we play Roach in this deck. We just slam this. Go big or go home. Bug? Yeah, you can kill Tactical Advantage with this card. You have to meet the requirement, the Bloodthirst, but you can remove TA. People run like 2 of these in their decks to do it. I mean, it's actually not bad because people are running... there's a good amount of artifacts right now that are being run around, but even if you don't play against an artifact deck, you can bug abuse 50% of the time on TA. It's really easy to do because you just crack a card and then you blow the TA. What do you mean pass? But there's a Siri. Alright. Surely they could ding you for bug abuse? I mean... maybe. There's only one way to find out, right? We have to push. Crack deck just blows me out of the water with boat. Boat. If they cared about the bug, they would hotfix it. They didn't hotfix a double Siri bug. So... they did fix the rope bug in round 3, which is good. Oh, no, no, no. Now it's dead to Savage Bear. Shit. That is unfortunate. Oh, he's bad. Nice. Greedy. Greedy, greedy! We have to push because boat blows us out. Yeah, that's basically the gist of it. Chat, do any of you guys have an Oculus Rift or an HTC Vive? I'm curious if there's any games that I should get or look into getting. I want to get Super Hot. I think we're going to get that game at some point. Beat Saber? Yeah, I've heard that's a good game. We'll probably pass here. We're done, I think. In case we draw 2 Witchers next turn, I need to hold the Novice, because we still haven't played Witchers. We still have 3 Witchers in our deck. Heard Super Hot's really fun? Yeah. Ooh! Ooh! Yes, please! Yes, yes, yes. XD getting value against SK? Sign me up. Oh, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15. Assume +2. 17. Puts him at 36, so he can do this in 1. The fact that he can do this in 1 is kind of ridiculous. Maybe we draw Witchers. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. I like that card. That's a good card. Now that's a top deck. This is what we call a top deck. This is a good card. I was gonna go for Witchers, but this is better. It is a Witcher. It is a Witcher. So technically it counts. Now we top deck. Bork guaranteed Witcher because there's 3 of them in my deck and then 1 random card. Is this music from the game or from Pumpkin? Both. His best 2 cards would be Wild Boar of the Sea and Pirate Captain. Not even close. No. Siri. No. Alright. Don't give me... Wait. We have a mulligan. We can mulligan a Witcher. Okay. Okay. We drew a Witcher. We're happy. Draw 0 Witchers. No, it's guaranteed top deck on Bork because of the way Novice works. If we lose this, I'm gonna be sad. It's too much of a roller coaster. Up and down, up and down. Oh! Come on, dude. That's cheating. Plays a 12. No, don't say Camby. No, I can't afford cock. Shit, should I have played around? No one plays that. No, don't do it. Don't do it. I can't afford. That's fine. All right, we're okay. He can't kill this. It's impossible. 5 points? Impossible. Impossible. Squarka does it. We win. GG. We win. Easy. His last card, Geralt Professional for 4. His card must be really complicated if it's taking him this long to play it. It must be like a multi-layered card where you do like 3 different... It must be like Shoop. Where there's so many possibilities. It was actually Scorch. That's pretty funny. Grand ideas. So he Scorched for 0 because the Bork would have sacked his 5.